Hey, what's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 189. That looks like Jenn Keddy. She looks like she's cold. She looks like she's freezing. It looks like it's brick where she's at. Buckle up, people. The episode starts right now. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back?
Ooh, good vibrato.
Back again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? All right. Three Buffalo girls gonna run me outside. Yeah, this definitely looks like a job for you. No, this looks like a job for me because on my show right now, on the Option Podcast, on episode 189, maybe, I have the incomparable,
TBD.
the charismatic, the absolutely drop dead gorgeous Jenn Keddy on the show. What's up?
Couldn't be me. Hi.
Nice. I'm not editing that part out. We're not skipping that. I was just going to have one of these organic things where we're just like talking about the subject matter, but I'll save that for Joe Rogan and, who I like, or Bill Maher, or whatever podcast have you. So, are you on drugs?
Does water count as a drug?
No. What is a supplement? I
Okay,
consider a drug. And it's so cool because we're gonna talk about water today. But I'm gonna give you the floor because we're gonna go right into the water thing. But I consider a drug anything that's altered that you don't have to take naturally to enhance or your quality of life or whatever, this and that. So right, if I'm taking iron supplements, that's a drug. If I'm eating cold spinach or eating red meat, that's a food, right? If I'm
So you would consider supplements a drug?
a supplement, yeah, anything that you have to alter and put into something that's I mean, it's weird because it's called the Food and Drug Administration, right? So we're not considering food drugs, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Let's
Come
not even
on.
get started on that one.
No, look, I
Um,
started off on the wrong foot, and that's all I got, right? Two left feet and ugly freaking shoes. Tell me why I'm wrong.
no, this is good. No, that's a very interesting perspective. I definitely take supplements. Um, that's very interesting. I actually started these new supplements. They're like the organ supplements. Um, I've been doing that and I actually really
Oh, let's give you some.
like it. Um, and I was like kind of grossed out. I was like, wait, do I really want to do this? And it's been interesting. I've been on it like for 2 months now. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I do that. I do like spirulina, chlorella,
Yeah.
amino.
Do
I
we
do like
do we not consider these drugs because like drugs as a term in a classic sense of the word gets a bad rep?
probably like when
Yeah.
you say drugs, I'm like, no, I haven't. I'm not on cocaine or
Oh.
heroin
Oh.
or meth. Like you say drug, and
Opioids.
I'm like, oh, or we're talking like pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
which
Which is a whole other conversation. Yeah. I was just telling you
yes,
before I got on the show, like I worked at a medical practice, a cardiology practice for 17 years. And the entire Sackler family were like our patients there. And, I met Dr. Raymond Sackler, passed away, whatever. Dr. Richard Sackler also passed away. Mortimer Jr., Dr. Teresa, Beverly. There's like 7 doctors in the family, right? And, you encounter these people and it's casual, but as they continue to come, they recognize my face. We have just regular people conversations. And I never really knew about all that evil stuff. I just like when you talk to these people, they have a house, they have a life, they got kids, they got a family, and you're just like, I'm never consider anyone a great person, but I'm like, they seem alright to me, and I'm like, no, no, they're not alright. They're not alright. So
I
mm,
guess the argument then is like, are they just doing their best and like just working with what they know? You know what I mean?
that's the question, right?
Yeah, that is the question because that's what they're taught in school,
Hmm.
So I like to give everyone the benefit of the doubt and be like, everyone's just doing their best. However, here's my question for you. Do you think it is appropriate for doctors to receive kickback from certain prescriptions they give out?
Highly inappropriate because beyond the professionalism of practicing medicine, there's a human factor that where you, if you where there will be a certain bias towards a medication if there's monetary benefit. That's just I'm not saying that every doctor would react that way. The guy I worked for, Dr. Isidore
Exactly.
Rosenfeld, I just want to have that on the record. Got you guys look him up. He's one of the best doctors ever. His father invented the stress test. You know, he was American Heart Association Physician of the Year. I went to the Waldorf, but to answer your question, there is chance for human error when it comes to that. There's right, don't you think so? There's no way. I mean, it's
100%.
like if I'm a
100%.
I'll give you an example. If I'm a defense attorney, right, and the guy who hired me to get him acquitted, if you know, if the lawyers almost ask, they don't want to know if the guy's guilty or innocent because you know you're stuck with that, and in your heart of hearts, right? You know he probably did it, but you know that if you get
Right.
him acquitted, it's good for business, for the next person who commits a similar crime, right? We're not going to talk about the crime. We're just speaking hypothetically.
Yeah.
So very
Yeah.
much like an attorney, where there's monetary benefit from him actually just doing a good job. I don't. In fact, that's not even a comparison. That's just someone doing a good job. Doctors
Right.
doing that is not doing a good job.
Right.
You
Well, that's
know.
funny that you bring up the lawyer stuff because I
Hmm.
just recently met a lawyer and we were having this conversation and it was like, it doesn't matter if they did it or not. It's a win. It's a win or lose for the lawyer. So
Right.
of course they want to win,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's them doing their job. And
Mm.
then on, on the other side, like you've said, obviously not all doctors are doing that, right? But I do think there's a bias that comes with, oh, well, if I give this person this prescription, I get this kickback.
Hmm.
And then you hear the stories of like, yeah, I went to the doctor for this and they didn't really do anything. They just told me to take this medicine. And then
Right.
that's not what was wrong with me. So they prescribed me something else. So it's like that's the cycle, right? Is like we just there's a drug for everything. So let's just take a drug.
And I like that we're talking about this because there are sometimes I think, and anyone listening, of course, I'm trying to say something I hope you can relate to. Like if I have a knee problem, a doctor could be like, here, wear this sleeve for the rest of your life or every time you play. Or, you know, maybe there's cadaver surgery or stem cell or whatever and this and that. And it's weird that some doctors immediately just go to whatever and don't weigh your options. My boss, the guy I told you about, wrote a book called Power to the Patient. And when I just started
Oh, cool.
reading this book, and just reminding patients to say, hey, when you're at a doctor's office and they give you this drug, you're like, all right, before I take this drug, what other options do I have? You're giving me Lipitor for
Yeah.
cholesterol. What other options do I have? Well, how about this diet to lower your cholesterol? You give me
Yeah.
Norvasc, like a blood pressure medication, right? So popular, even dogs take it, right? So, so,
Oh my gosh, really?
yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
Norvasc, well, it's 2.5 is very hard to prescribe. A 1.25, so you take a 2.5, cut the pill in half, and like feed it to your dog. Blood pressure dogs,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So yeah, I mean, come on. Some of the owners, you wonder why dogs have high blood pressure. So it's New
Yeah.
York too. So,
Yeah.
so what I wanted to say was, do I take Norvasc for blood pressure, or do I maybe get a little bit more garlic powder in my life, or do I have food or supplements? Because, like you said, supplement is a word for a reason because it's not a drug. So I think that's where you're right. Um, Power to the patient. And in the last three
Yeah.
years, we're not going to talk about COVID because I ain't trying to get this. This thing's going to be on YouTube, and I'm not trying to get this flagged. And the vaccines are safe and
Yeah.
effective, and help prevent hospitalizations.
Everyone get vaccinated.
I know Damar Hamlin won't. Yeah, right. I mean, look, he's not allowed to talk about the vaccine, but I'll tell you this: the media is avoiding asking him if he's going to get the booster. I'll tell you that because we know the answer
For
to that.
sure.
But yeah. So power to the patient, and that's what's gotten lost the last 3 years,
Yeah.
right? I want to give you a little bit of the floor, and I promise you, we're not ignoring this water thing, but when you had cancer, right? And
Hmm.
you're going through chemotherapy. For everyone that doesn't know her backstory, go to volleymag.com, just Google search Jenn Keddy. It is, and she wasn't trying to do this, but it was an absolute tearjerker and just this woman's journey. And it's not how you fall down, it's how you get back up. You were one tough son of. You know, I mean, man, there's a reason why I asked you back. We had a great time, and I felt like there was so much more to talk about, right? And I can't even shut up. But there was a choice where you had to take a drug where the doctor's like, okay, you got to kind of take this the rest of your life. And you were kind of like, what else are you selling? Walk me through that. Walk us through the situation. You had cancer, right? It was a tumor. I think you thought you were pregnant or were pregnant at the time. It was in Germany, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
the land of socialized medicine, not exactly, not dragging their heels on things. So
Yeah.
walk me through whatever you want to, but def for sure get into the patient option here.
Where do you want me to start?
You start with cancer, the cancer. You were playing
Okay.
you're playing professional volleyball in Germany, and you were yippee, I have a baby, and glad I didn't because that guy was a jerk, or I don't know, but we're not. No, no, no,
Yeah.
whoa. See how you let me keep talking? Skip that part. Jesus Christ, skip that part. Let me not talk about this. Skip that part and let's talk about what happened and the tumor and the discovery or
Yeah.
wherever you want to start.
Yeah. No, I want to preface by what we're saying, like the power of the patient. Like it's so important for everyone to be their own advocate and make their own choices and then empower themselves to like take responsibility for the choice that they're making. Right? Like I just because I've gotten so much flack for doing chemo or you'll get flack for not doing chemo. It's just everyone wants a say. So make a decision for that's best for you, and roll with it. Like trust that you can make the right decision while also getting input from others, but taking it with a grain of salt and just being like, you know what, I'm like the best advocate for myself. So I just want to preface by saying that. So cancer, casual. Yeah, I was in Germany playing professional volleyball and I didn't really have any crazy symptoms. It wasn't until I like had to put on nice clothes that were tighter versus like sweatpants that I was always wearing. And I just noticed that I looked pregnant. Like I looked like I was 2 months pregnant. And I had a boyfriend at the time, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is not good." So I go to the doctor, and that's when they told me that they were like, "Oh yeah, it's not a baby, it's a huge tumor. It's so big we don't even know where it starts and ends." And I was like, as soon as they said that in my head, I was like, "Oh, I have cancer." And then they go, "Oh well, not all tumors are bad. Like this, don't worry." And I was like,
Is there such a thing as a
"Seems."
good tumor? Shut up. Good
I was
Lord.
like, "Wait, the fact that something is growing there and it's huge, like that can't be good."
It's
So, and mind you,
nothing
like,
burger. Go ahead.
yeah. And like, mind you, I didn't have this like prior, right? So it was quick. It grew fast. Um, so I got the CT scan and I walk in the doctor's office in Germany. And of course there's two people sitting there and they just look at you like you have cancer. So I walked in there and as soon as I saw them, I was like, okay, we're doing this. Sat me down, told me, we can't tell you to be sure, we can't tell you for sure, but we're 99% sure you have cancer. Um, and again, they still didn't know where it was located, what kind, all these things. So they're sitting there telling me, next steps, what we do, we need to get this out right away. Do we do blood tests? We do biopsies. We need to get you going right away. And I was like, okay, so what are my options? And they said, well, this was December 17th. And they said, okay, well, everyone's on holiday right now. And then we can put you on the list to get in line for your tests, which is yeah. So that's the fun little socialist medicine that people don't think about. Is you're telling me that I have to get this out right now, but I can't go and get tested until February? It's December 17th. I would have been dead.
The emergency surgery crew
The emergency
is
surgery
chilling.
crew was going to show up in February when it's December 17th. So, like,
Good
I'm
Lord.
pretty sure I would have been dead if I would have gone that route. So, instead, it's like, okay, do I go home or do I stay in Germany and hope for the best? And everything just kind of, it was like God, like everything fell into place. There was one seat left on the plane. This was on a Tuesday. There was one seat left on the plane to go home on Friday. Just all these like really, like God just had his hand in it and was like, hey, like this is what we're doing. So flew home and I did the surgery. They removed a tumor the size of a football from my right ovary. It had spread pretty much everywhere except for the other side, which is just crazy.
Jesus.
So I did the chemo and I was on so much medication. I had to give myself shots twice a day in the stomach for blood thinners. I was on steroids. I was on anti-nausea medication. I was on, gosh, like so much medication just for everything that, right? Like it's either, am I going to die from chemo or am I going to die from cancer?
Right.
So there's like the balance of, hey, we're going to pump you full of chemo and then you've got to take all these meds to like try and survive. So I was in the emergency room like 4 different times for 4 different things: blood clots, allergic reactions, no white blood cells. So I was just on so much medication and I was not a medication person. I wouldn't even take an ibuprofen if I had a headache. It was just, hey, let's drink more water. And because of the, seriousness of what I was going through, I in my head was like, okay, I'm going to do what the doctors tell me. I'm going to rewire my brain. I'm going to have a different perspective. I'm going to go, it's not going to be chemo. It's going to be juice. We're just going to get juice because this is going to save our life. Like that was the mindset I had to have. Otherwise it was like telling myself how toxic it was could have also probably killed me, right? Like mindset is everything. So I just had to like change my perspective on what I was doing. It was when I finished chemo that I was like, okay, we're done with this. Like now I need to detox my body from all of that I just put in it. And so my plan was like, I want to be off all medication. I don't want to be taking anything. And of course they tell you, this is something you're going to deal with for the rest of your life. Like all these side effects, we can't help you. We're going to put you on meds. Like you're 26 years old. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. Like that was their plan for me. And I was just, something just told me that's not
No,
that's not what
running's
we're going to
running's not
do.
your sport. Sprinting is.
Yeah, I'm more of a sprinter and there's just no way that is good for me to be on medication for the rest of my life when I still also had this ambition to play professional volleyball. Like I was like, there's got to be another way. Like I cannot do this. They wanted me on blood thinners. They wanted me on, I don't even know what they would have put me on for the neuropathy, for the
Yeah, true.
migraines.
That with the Coumadin, right, or warfarin or whatever. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
They gave me the prescription and my mom was like, let's go pick it up. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And she was like, well, let's get it just in case. And the whole, what I totally skipped was the part where they could not admit that it was from the chemotherapy. I went in there and I told him everything that was going on. And he said, hmm, it's probably just from like how much you were sitting down during chemo. And I was like, what? That's your answer? I was like, that doesn't sound right. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm fine. I went and walked 2 miles after every chemo treatment, and I went to the gym after every chemo treatment,
He was
like
he, he, he
just
was
to offset.
he was thinking liability was a concern, right?
I
Like
don't
if he suggested the chemo and you got hurt from the chemo, he'd have a hell of a lot to answer for, wouldn't he?
I just don't think that I don't think there's any sort of liability when it comes to those treatments. Like you
No,
sign
but,
your
no, but
life
there is
away.
informed consent, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they have to let you know all of the risks that they know, not
right.
just the major
Well,
ones.
and that's, you go in before you start chemo, you sign so many papers, right? And it's just walking you through. I
Fine
mean,
print.
I did 3 different types of chemos.
Mhm.
Like you basically are signing your life away to big pharma.
Yeah.
And
And you know what's
like
crazy? What Jen, what they
oh no,
make you sign, they're sitting there waiting for your signature, and there's sometimes you're like, this is like 2 pages long, or why you're sitting there staring
right.
at me waiting for me to sign this? Do I get to read this? I didn't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt that, but I just wanted everyone to I don't I'm shit.
Yeah,
I'll just shut up.
they're just waiting for you to sign and they're telling you the things that could happen and the best one is of course, and there is a chance that you could develop another cancer from chemo and there is a chance you could die. It's like they're lift.
Hmm.
And I, like I said, chemo saved my life.
Yeah.
Like who knows what would have happened if I chose to go another route. Like it was so aggressive, it was so fast growing. Like it really did. I mean, it saved my life, which is why I tell people, I'm like, chemo saved my life and the water saved me from chemo. Like that worked together to get me to where I am now. But yeah, it was
So
there
that
was just
so that was your alternative from taking medication for the rest of your life. You're like, I'm gonna go with option B, water.
well, and you know what? I didn't even know that there was an option B. I just in my gut was like, this is not right for you. And I just was like, no. And I had no idea at that point what I was going to do. I just said no. And that, I think it was that day or the next day, my friend had posted something about the water. And I had never heard of it. Well, I had heard of it a year and a half prior. I actually tried it from him. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this is for old sick people. I don't need it. Uh, and
I
so
know.
I saw him post something and I reached out to him and I didn't even know what it did. I didn't know, like, I did not know really anything about it other than he had sent me some info on, disease cannot survive in an alkaline environment. And then also, this water has antioxidants. And what they told me, the reason my cancer happened was free radicals. Again, had no idea what any of this was. So I did a lot of Googling.
Mhm.
And so when he sent me that info, I was like, I might as well try it. Like the odds of it coming back. I just recently I might get emotional, so forgive me. I just recently read something that was like the type of chemo that I did, my odds of survival were 50% after taking it. And the side effects of like, oh, your kidneys could fail in, 5 years. Like you could still die from this chemo 5 years down the road. And that was like, not only are people battling then against the chemo that they've taken to try and kill the cancer, but it's like they're also battling the 5 year mark of, hey, are you going to make it 5 years without your cancer coming back? So it's like, it's just crazy. And like, how many people are diagnosed with cancer every day, every year? And that's the option that we have, that we're given.
It's a
And
coin toss.
yeah, you're literally just like, I guess we'll see if it works.
Dude, I feel like you have a better chance of winning server side before the match starts when the referee calls captains. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Um,
50-50. It's a coin, but God,
right.
think about the amount of times you won that coin toss, and think about think about this time that you won this. You know,
Yeah, no,
God is good. Jen.
yeah, I was like, it's being an athlete completely prepared me for this, which sounds so dumb to compare sports and cancer, but I'm not kidding you. The adversity that us athletes deal with and the mental fortitude that you have to have going into these certain situations, again, there is no comparison. However, I approached this and I was like, okay, this is the match for my life. Like we only have we can only win. Like that's our option here. Um, and that mindset and just going into it with that mindset, I tell people all the time that your mindset going into cancer can either like keep you alive or it can kill you. So like,
Mm.
what are
Yeah,
you going to choose? Like
yeah.
you have a
I
decision
mean,
to make. You either are going to fight for your life or you're just
you're gonna die.
you're going
That's
to die.
that's not a false dichotomy, Jen. That's a true dichotomy. Your argument is literally limited to only two choices:
Yeah.
live or die. And I'd like to express the caveat about having a healthy lifestyle and being an elite athlete. All right. I know some people play high school sports and this and that, but we're talking about a completely different animal. We're talking about a professional athlete and the general nutrition and all the things that prepare you just to play, assuming you actually have the skill to play, because you could do all that and still suck and still lose. It's like, man, I did all that working out
Right.
and I suck, right? Which is
Yeah.
basically the American male beach professional. I did all this work. I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
really didn't do the work. Okay, the women did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump off that, but you think about every disease that you get, right? When you have the flu and you're a healthy person, sometimes it's gnarly and sometimes it's just a sniffle. You know, my wife got COVID. Um, and she credits the vaccination and the booster, but I am telling you straight up, that woman runs every day, she walks every day, she's 45 and could play a tournament with you tomorrow and win one, lose one, win his bracket, win one, lose one, contend his bracket in an already heavily littered American, savage, population. And I guess the reason why I'm bringing this up is because viruses, in order for the virus to go away, there's two ways. You got to let it run its course, and it'll be disinterested or not, right? Or you inject yourself with something just as deadly or more deadly, where the virus has no interest in being there. Because a virus, you can't kill it, but it can only survive if it has a living host. All right,
Yes.
so that's what happened. I mean, guys, go watch World War Z, man. You get all the bro science you want from this, right? They
Yeah.
beat the zombie apocalypse by injecting themselves with something that was going to kill them and vaccinating themselves from it. So,
Yep.
and that's why chemotherapy is an option. And as far as power to the patient is concerned, someone comes to you clean. These are all of the side effects. This is better than nothing. That level of honesty where you make the active choice to do it or do not is what I think the practice of good medicine is made of.
Yeah.
Informed consent and power to the
Yes.
patient. You made this choice, and then you knew when this choice was made, when chemo saved your life. And I sound like I'm just echoing the sentiments of your story. You made another choice. And and that's working out. You just recently won last year in Tavares, Florida, with someone you only trained with for less than not even 3 weeks. She got sick, right? She had food poisoning or something.
We had a practice the day
Mm-hmm.
before the tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just us two.
And that's it. And it was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
It was the timing.
It-
It was
yeah.
kind of one of those honeymoon phase type things where we're like, dude, I like your spike. I like your look. I like your look. Right?
Wow,
I
you're
like
so
I like the
good.
water I like the way you drink your water. It was come on, when you're in that
Yeah.
state and you can play this sport. Are you kidding? I
It's
mean,
the best.
yeah, the other team, the intensity's all turned up and they're getting these points, and you're just like, cool, all right. All right, one more set.
Yeah.
You're like, set three then, Isn't that
Yeah.
liberating? Isn't that liberating?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's it's just great to know that when you are in a
Mm.
space of like, I'm just happy to be here and I'm enjoying being on the sand right now. I'm enjoying playing with this person. Like, what else is there? Like, and it sounds so dramatic, but the whole cancer thing, I mean, it literally changed my entire perspective on everything.
Hmm.
Like volleyball now is a gift. Like it's not something I stress about that I'm like forcing myself into and I have to perform this way and I have to finish in this position and I have to make this much money. Like it's literally just like, wow, this
Yeah.
is so cool that I get to do this.
Yep. I want to ask you what Kangen water or Kangen water is in a minute, but I wanted to say something really cool. And I think I said this the last time we were on the podcast, but bears repeating. UFC fighter Dominic Cruz, 135-pound champ. He was a WC champ for a little bit, or was he? I don't know. It doesn't matter. UFC, he fought in the 135-pound division, and he was the champion, and he got injured. And his injury kept, he'd come back, he'd train and, try to get his title back or whatever. He'd get injured again. And then like a year later, he's still riddled with this stupid injury. And then something happened where he was doing media and he said something you can definitely agree with. And I think a lot of the people can appreciate as well. The title doesn't define who I am. And for a while it did define who he was. He had a title shot in a recent another organization, lost to Uriah Faber, and it killed him, and he was obsessed with it. And
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes a healthy obsession, and sometimes an unhealthy obsession. And I just wanted to finish by saying two things. One, once he decided the title doesn't define who he is, it's just one of the many things he is, and not who he is as a collective whole. He won the belt back.
Yeah.
And the second thing
Yes.
is, and you'll appreciate this because you were talking about the emotional roller coaster, right? Things in your life that are complicated and things in your life that are simple are not navigated by intellectual choices. You would think it was intellectual. They're navigated by emotional choices. The things
Yes.
that make things in your life simple or complicated, I'll say it in a different way, the same way, are not, well, like, wow, that was a well thought out decision. No, you went the majority of it. In fact, I can't even think about anything in my life I've done intellectually that's exponentially right heightened it or deflated
Right.
it. It comes from emotion, and then your intellectual choices are like, okay, I did this out of emotion. Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
Isn't that
No, it's
weird? Isn't
literally
that weird?
responding versus reacting. Yes. It's so weird. Like as you're saying it, I'm thinking, I'm like, nothing about some of the like a lot of the decisions I made were logical.
No,
Like the doctors told me, they were like, you're not allowed to go to the gym. There's too many germs. Like you're at too high of a risk. And I was like,
go deliver
well, I'm
someone's
gonna
baby.
go.
Yeah, go deliver someone's baby. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, well, I'm gonna go because that's my happy place. And it also is like, that's how I'm gonna like fight this, is by going and working out. And so that was not logical, but I did it anyway, you know?
Right.
It's,
Well,
yeah,
the reason why is because we don't know everything. If you put everything
right.
on an intellectual level, it's based on what you learn or what other people taught you, and but you have to leave a little bit of room, not a lot of room, that they might be wrong. You have
Yes.
to leave. There's some things that are researched for years, like wearing a seatbelt. Fine, you know, it's been tested. We use crash test dummies. Cool. I'm gonna wear a seatbelt, right? Which is why I always hate the
Yeah.
seatbelt comparison with other things, right? We literally
Yeah.
we didn't need human testing for that.
Or like wearing a
We had
helmet.
literal crash test dummies, all right,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
people, and sometimes things are seem logical and sensible, but not right. And
Hmm.
you've done, your life is a living sample size of that. Something it didn't. Some of the things you've done in your life were not logical, did not make sense, but as a net result, turned out right. And I'm not talking about
Yes.
a busted clock fallacy. You got to watch that's right twice a day. I'm talking about leaving room that something or someone can be wrong.
Yeah.
Trusting your gut is like this outdated thing, and it's crazy because in public people are like, no, I don't go by gut, I go by logic, but and behind closed doors they go with their gut, you
Yeah.
know, right? Like I'll give you an example. We were talking about Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills player that got injured last year, right? Everyone came to the front and said, oh, I don't want any conspiracy nuts to talk about the vaccine and this and that. And I'm like, no one even said anything about it yet before
Yeah.
anyone can say anything about it, right? So but I will say this, whether you're on one side of that argument or the other, um it was logical for him to make those choices, but his gut, I'll bet you his gut said he didn't get that booster,
Right.
right? Behind closed
Yeah.
doors, right? He didn't get that
For
booster.
sure.
So it's weird because there are a lot of people that have this intellectual shaming that turns into moral preening, right? But at the end of the day, when it comes to themselves or maybe even their children, right? You got a lot riding on that too if you got kids. They're
Hmm.
gonna follow their gut, and your gut's based on your experience, right?
Right.
I saw a
I
guy.
just,
I saw a big red truck, right, and a bunch of guys with hard hats with a water hose, and they had a Dalmatian. Dude, I mean, there's logic that follows my gut. That might be a firefighter, man. Those might be firefighters,
right.
dude. Yeah. Right. I just, but
Throwing it
but
out there.
yeah. But just because they're doing all that, I mean, don't does not make. I'm not talking about that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
mean I'm a firefighter, man. But sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead. You're gonna say.
No, I just, to need to have all the answers, I think is where people become closed-minded. Like it's like, well, that's not logical. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't need to have all the answers. I'm gonna trust what I feel is best.
Yeah.
And you can always change your mind.
Yeah. Look, I can use my wife as a sample size. All right. Academic family, went to Harvard. Her dad went to Harvard undergrad. Both parents went to Duke Law School. Um, right. She works in finance. I'm a moron from Brooklyn who joined the army.
No, you're not.
Played NCAA volleyball for one semester. Didn't even go to class. Finally smartened up, auditioned, studied theater. Right.
Love that.
Studied theater. I was in the BFA program at Marymount Manhattan. And when we started dating, our mutual friends were like, they're saying hi, hey, pleased to meet you. And when I walk away, they're like, so, what do you two talk about? It
So like,
wasn't
what do you guys, how do you get
logical.
along?
It wasn't logical, and it
Yeah.
made no sense. And here we are. This November will make it year 12
Oh,
because it ain't logical, it ain't
congrats.
sensible, but it's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it just because it's right on paper doesn't mean it's
No.
right,
No, that's
right?
connected.
Like,
Yeah, it's crazy, but
yeah.
here we are, and let me tell you something. I got a down ass girlfriend. I do when I said wife, but girlfriend, but we're practically married.
You're dating.
We even got a
Yeah,
kid. We're doing it like the Puerto Rican way,
yeah.
but New York Puerto Rican way. Sorry, New York
Yeah.
way, but. It's one of those things. I'll just put it this way for the guys out there. If you're lucky enough to have a girl that lets you do whatever you want, go wherever you want, but she asks you to take care of one or two things, do the one or two things, do the one or two things, man. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm back.
But like also not asking too much, one or two things.
Just
Come
do
on.
that. If you're lucky, guys out there, if you're lucky enough, because there's some trifling women out there where whatever you do is not enough, okay? Whatever you do is not enough. But if you're lucky enough, and does involve some luck, okay? This is goes beyond logic and sense, right? Luck.
Yes,
If
yes.
you're lucky enough to have someone, it's like you could. I'm not saying you can't do whatever the hell you want. But when it comes to these two things, take care of those two things.
Yeah.
I'm like, deal. Put your hand out. We can shake hands, right? We're shaking
Yeah.
hands. She's like, I'm cold. I'm not putting my hand out. Oh, there it is.
I know my hand is actually cold.
Oh my God. It's crazy. No logic, no sense, but I can see the brick. I can see the
Yeah.
coldness.
Just got off Mount
Yeah.
Everest.
Yeah, so that's what we're
Yeah.
teaching everybody. Just do what's right? And
Yes.
we're not saying screw logic. We're just saying, when you have an answer, there's nothing wrong with continuing to ask the question. That's this podcast, which is why I'm so glad to have you. The purpose of this podcast was to talk about things, and you and I can raise a question that you, me, and the audience can answer together. All right.
Yeah.
I'll talk a lot of junk and I pretend to have all the answers, but that's not, man. That's not true. I don't have. I don't. No. I'm an idiot.
No one has all the answers.
No, but I pretend to, but it's the reality is I don't. Right? Every question you asked me, I had an answer for, and I answered as if I was glad you asked. But man, I'm scared. I'm scared as hell of questions. I'm scared. She's like, me too.
I'm like, oh, I'm ready to answer anything.
I know.
However,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Here's a question by one of the fans. Did you have self-esteem issues growing up?
I want to say no because I don't remember it. However,
Mm.
yes. I think, everyone's got some self-esteem stuff. Yeah, I my family members used to call me fat for some reason, and I wasn't fat, so here we are today. Uh, but no, I was so obsessed with sports that anything around self-esteem, like I was just so obsessed with sports. Like I didn't care about much other than that. And I honestly think it saved me, like just being so naive to like the world around me,
Yeah. Dude,
you
ignorance is
know?
yeah, I mean, yeah, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm sure that people made fun of me for being tall. I'm sure of it, right?
And
Like
any weight you put on when you're tall is something someone's always gonna like highlight, right?
right,
Like
or the
Taryn
fact that you're
Kluth,
so
right?
skinny.
Yeah. Hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
Like Taryn
just
Kluth,
Taryn.
like if you look at her body type, Like I look at Taryn Cloth, and those are the two girls I actually literally follow because I'm not a fan of the sport. I'm just a fan of no, I'm not a fan of players. I'm a purist of the sport, but I have my
Yeah.
exceptions, and there's those two. And the men I'll tell you in a minute. But I look at her and I tease my mind. I'm like, when she stops playing, that girl's gonna get fat, right? I'm like, you know that girl's gonna get fat when she stops playing, right? But that's my impulse to think that because that body type um, can have places to put it, right? Like a woman like that, it will sneak up on you when you're looking the wrong way, right? So I'm actually totally kidding because I have no idea what Taryn Cloth, actually I'm half kidding because I know those two eat when they're not there. They're on social
Oh, for
media. Those
sure.
two eat like pregnant women, dude. Those two, man. Sorry, I rephrase. Those two eat like athletes. Athletes need a lot of
Yeah.
food. No,
We're
but
just fueling our bodies.
mhm. No, but Taryn knows I'm actually teasing, and maybe I picked the wrong example because she does strike me as someone that might be a little bit sensitive about that. Because when you're this tall girl, towering over everybody, sometimes you grow up wanting the hunch to fit with the pack. But I think I'm right about her because if you look at her posture when she's standing next to people, she's standing tall. And
Yeah.
either you're up there with her or you're not, and
Yeah.
that's that goddess thing. You have a lot of that too. Oh my God, you have a lot of that, Jen. You're
Oh,
taller
thank
than
you.
everybody. If you're in a play, right, and they put you in the ensemble cast, you're not. You stand tall and make the casting director feel sorry he did that. I'm a
Yeah.
lead,
Yeah.
yeah. So self-esteem, not so bad. Totally oblivious. That's what we're going with.
It's yeah, I mean not fully. I
Mm,
think especially being a woman, like there's so many body image issues that come up and just like the comparison. And I won't lie, that's something I've dealt with my whole life. And finding the balance has, it's I still struggle with it.
mm-hmm.
But when I was younger, I don't remember that ever being an issue. It wasn't until I got to college and then the weird comments you get from people was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. And then that's when you start to question it, allowing people to give their opinions, and it's kind of becomes who you are. So,
Well, people like to put you in a slot, right? Like
yeah,
when I grew up, I was 250 pounds. Um, and then when I got in the military, I blew up again. I got in shape and then I blew up again. I got as high as 265. And then, I got my stepfather and my whatever saying, I go clothes shopping and they're like, that's not for people like you. You know,
oh
that's
gosh,
that's
yeah,
that's straight fit. That's slim fit. That's not for people like you. And and when people say that and you trust them based on their experience, you become that, right? Uh,
yeah,
um, think about the people you grew up in the ultimate reversals. Think about like the people you grew up that were really, really skinny and now they're like huge because they've accepted that
yeah,
at a certain age their body changes. They've accepted that. And your body changes, but it changes the kind of the way you want, right? In my opinion. But I went from 265 right now I'm 210. In a perfect world I'd like to be 205. That's my walk around like my self-esteem narcissist weight where I think I'm
yeah.
like oh so cute. So, but
There's
yeah,
always the perfect body type. I think
yeah,
when you get older, like my awareness now,
mm-hmm,
looking back on those things that people said to me, like for example, I was in college my freshman year. I was not fat. Like at no point was I fat.
no, mm-hmm,
And I'll never forget my teammate. I went to a party with them and I'll never forget, Jen, roll your shirt up so it makes me feel better. And I was like, what? It's like, why would that make you feel better? And then it was like oh, she's saying because I'm fat. And so I mean, that spiraled into a whole number of issues. But now I look back and I'm like, anytime that someone like people say stuff like that, it's coming like humans don't, that's not innately what we want to say to people, right? Like I
no,
believe that we all love and appreciate people. It's when the insecurities creep in and
mm,
those like lower vibrational emotions and the lower state is when that's what you say to someone. So now having the awareness, it's like, oh man, I totally feel for that person. But
yeah,
back then,
yeah.
that's like,
It's terrible for I mean,
That's like a
no
that's the
woman.
making of an eating disorder right
Yeah,
there.
and a woman
You
too.
know?
You know, I don't mean to be sexist,
Yeah.
but like doing that to a woman. You know,
Yeah.
guys were a little bit more thick skinned. I'm not that thick. I'm not that guy. I'm thick skinned with everything else.
Couldn't be
I'm
me.
thick skinned with everything else except when it came
Yeah.
to my weight because I was, you know, when I got out of the military and I was still playing volleyball, in my 20s, I could still jump and I had a jump serve that looked like hits. Um, but, you know, I'd be in Central Park, right? And I'd go change my shirt. And when I'm taking off my shirt to change my shirt, like one of my friends was like, whoa, you know, oh man, oh, I need sunglasses. I don't need to see that. You know, when you do that, he thinks it's funny, right? But when you're
Yeah.
doing that and there's maybe a girl you were talking to and a girl you kind of like and she kind of likes you and he does that like in front of her, you know, I don't care how old you are.
Yeah.
That's not a teenage problem. That was, you know,
No.
I was 27 years old when he did that, you know, and I was like, man, you want to say something back, but if you say something back, it's worse because it's now like, oh, you're being sensitive now and this and that or whatever and this and that over your own body, which you have control over, right? So
Right.
so you feel ashamed in so many ways, and not just ashamed, embarrassed, inferior, uh, um, no, and everything you bring to the table that goes beyond that doesn't mean anything to that person and no longer means anything to you because you're
Right.
like they don't care what I am, they just care about this, you know. And I went through that phase and it sucked and it hurt. It really really hurt. It bad,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't know, somewhere I got married and then I got divorced and then I took on a trainer who by the way happened to be a pharmaceutical rep from Pfizer. um Got me eat. Yeah,
Crazy.
I mean, I was thinking this, you know, she's a personal trainer, but I'm like, she's probably going to try to get me on some drugs. But no, she's like, how many times a day you eating? And I was like, twice. She's like, what? She said, breakfast? I said, no. She's like, what? So she got me to
Yeah.
eating 5 times a day. Try to get me to go in the gym, but I had a military workout that I liked. And she's like, you know, that takes longer. And I'm like, yeah, but the results last longer. Right.
Yeah.
Then, you know, so I took a year and I went from 265 and got as low as 186. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's a Backstreet Boy, right? That's a lot of weight. Uh, um,
Yeah.
but then cumulatively rounded off to, or net weight rounded off to 200 to 205. That's what I call my natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because 185 was too light for me. 185, I was at the Pottstown Rumble and a girl your height actually gave me a friendly shove and I fell.
Oh my
You
gosh.
know, like we were flirting the whole time. So she walked
Yeah.
by. She tried to do one of those excuse me, walk by things. And when she did it, she,
And she knocked you down. Oh my gosh.
186. No, no, nope.
Yeah, that's not it.
No.
That's hilarious.
You'd feel so bad if you knocked a guy down, friendly bumping him. You're trying to pick
I'd
him
be like,
up. I'm so
oh.
sorry. That's what happened. She's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know my own
Don't get
strength.
me wrong. I enjoyed the jump, the 11 inches I got from losing the weight and being able
Oh
to
yeah.
jump, you know, being part of the 11-foot club finally, you know, and being on a team, you know, that won nationals twice. I didn't go to nationals, but, you know, just being around people that I
Yeah.
felt like I deserved to be around, you know. And of
Yes,
course, my social life, just like, and then you have
for
old
sure.
friends, just to finish, you have friends that think you're sick. Like friends that know you for a long time, maybe they haven't seen you in
Yeah.
a year. They're like, that looks like him, but that's not him. Okay. He's swinging his left arm, his right staying still, because that's how I used to walk around when I play volleyball. I'm lefty.
Yeah.
And you'll watch lefties. A lot of them walk around. Some of them just swing their left and their right still, because lefties heavily favor their left more than righties favor their right. Um, yeah, so self-esteem, got it. You know, this and that, got it. This morning before I got on the podcast with you, I still thought I'm like I'm fat. It still bothers me.
It's a
It
yeah.
still haunts me. You know,
Yep.
and I'm
Yeah.
not. Look at me. I'm freaking
Right.
normal, right? I mean, I don't even look too. This doesn't even look 210. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a skinny
It's
210
crazy.
girl. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a lifelong battle for some people.
Mm. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's crazy. The guy that used to tease me, he's now He was hospitalized as a pre-diabetic. He got up to 280. So, you know, and all I could do is be like, bro, please be healthy. Please take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Not like, you know, karma's a, you know, a bit. I'm not that guy.
Well, and again,
I'm not a
it
terribly
came from a
vindictive
place
person.
of insecurity for him,
Yeah.
you know, like
Hmm.
it never has anything to do with the person.
God, he's listening to this right now. Oh
You're
man. No, but
doing great.
I'm glad he knows that I'm not that guy. I'm just like, dude, I've been there. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
I
It's
told
good.
you, but I told you what made me lose the weight last podcast, right? So I saw a guy on the train that looked like me, in New York. He's sitting in one of those two-seaters, but he's taking up the whole thing, and he was like 300, but he had like my hair, my kinky hair, and he had a 20-piece, like McDonald's chicken McNuggets, and he's looking for a place to put it, right? And he put it on his stomach and just started eating chicken
No.
McNuggets off his stomach. And I'm sitting across from him, and I'm like, whoa, that's me,
Yeah.
dude. That's me. If I keep effing,
Ooh.
keep effing around, dude. That's you. If you keep this up, if you that's you, dude. So yeah,
I'm so happy you had the ability to like look at that and be like, I don't want that for myself. So a lot of people don't.
no. Look, sometimes you find like from a religious perspective, sometimes you find Jesus on your own, and sometimes you get scared straight.
Yeah.
God, Lord, give
Mostly
me
the
a
latter, I
right.
think.
Lord, give me a sign.
Yes.
That was you,
Yeah.
man. You were singing DMX when you were going through
I was like,
chemotherapy.
get me through this and I'll do anything you want.
Right? I really need to
Yeah.
talk to you, Lord, because the last time we talked, the road has been hard.
Can you believe he's dead? R.I.P.
Oh no, God!
Yeah.
I see Jeff Samuels when I see DMX because
I
the
know.
look, right? They don't even
I'm so
talk the
glad you
same.
said it.
They don't even talk the same, right? In the name of Jesus, devil, I rebuke you. To Jeff Samuels
No.
being like, look, sometimes you angle your platform, right? And sometimes it's a J-hook pass, you know? Right? You talk to Jeff on the phone, you think blonde-haired surfer, dude. You're not thinking black, right?
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Yes.
Yes, for those of you, I'm a
Oh,
volleyball guy. For those of you that don't, follow the sport, Jeff Samuels is one of the only African American players on the tour. It was my honor, duty, and privilege to be his coach for like an average of 4 tournaments a year. We coached together in the summer, so he's not just a friend; he's a brother from another
so
mother.
you're why he's such a good hand setter, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm an indoor setter, so no, I'm a fast release guy.
Me too. Me too.
But how about that? Let's talk about right. When we talk about great setters, how about the guys whose hands are, I mean, just unjustifiably ignored? Jeff's got some hands, dude.
Yeah, he does.
His release and I do it like
Yeah.
I give you the set you want.
Yeah. No, he's an amazing setter.
Yeah, you using your hands more? Or?
I'm supposed to.
Nah.
It just, every time I go to handset,
Mhm.
there's just like, why don't we just bump set? I'll handset next time.
Yep.
Also, there's this issue of like, I'll go to handset and I'm so nervous that I go to handset and I'm pulling my hands out and I'm like, oh God, no, I can't set with those.
Right.
So then I go to bump setting.
I mean, I think it matters less to women because you consider the height of the women who are almost the same size as men. You consider the height of the net, which is significantly lower than the men's. Like where you're bump setting, you kind of keep almost the same court vision as if you're hand setting, because where your forearms are the bottom of the tape anyway, or the middle of the tape.
Yeah, but think about 6'4" girl hand setting, and then every once in a while, just last minute switches and seconds over. Like,
There's
right?
that. Yep.
Like my hand is over the net when I'm standing there.
I mean, also consider the last 4 gold medalists on the women's scene. How many of them are hand setters?
True.
All right, April and Alex, bump
Yeah.
setters. Luke, Vulcanhorst and Ludwig, bump setters. And before that would be an unfair comparison because the evolution of women hand setting is exponentially higher
Right.
than what it was the last 2
Yes.
Olympics. So it would be unfair to go before that point with Misty and Carrie or whatever.
Right.
But consider, the Brazilians, the only girl I really hand set back in the day was Larissa, right? So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Dude,
very true.
let's talk about Let's talk about Kangen water. Kangen water.
Kongan.
Kangen.
Yeah.
That's like you trying to
I
pronounce
love
my
it.
last name. I'm like, Debilius.
Yeah.
uh,
Dude, my I just hired
Keddy.
an assistant and she jokingly calls it Cajun water. So you call it whatever you want.
So you said a type of water changed your life. And you've kind of been about that life when it comes to water and the importance of it and the evolution and how it enhances people's quality of life, right? Quality of life versus
Yes.
sanctity of life. Guess what? They're kissing cousins right now because of what you're doing with water. Talk to me. I guess I kind of got a hint on how this whole water thing and you became fishing buddies, but talk me through how you got into that. Like last episode we were on, I asked you how you got into volleyball. This episode, I'm asking you how you got into water.
Yeah. So, I mean, I told the cancer story, and
Mm,
that was kind of the last resort, and was told I was going to be on meds for the rest of my life. Didn't sit with me. Invested in the water, and just the ability of it to help your body detox and get your body into its, most optimal state. Kangen in Japanese means return to origin. So the way that I always explain it is like it's literally returning your body to its original state of optimal function, right? Like our bodies are incredible. They have the ability to heal themselves if we
that's
provide
something.
the right environment.
Wow.
So yeah, I started drinking the water, and it helped me so much that I was like, this is crazy. And I went to my oncologist and I was like, dude, you told me I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life, that this was going to be a struggle for me. Like, this is no longer a struggle for me. Like, how cool that you could use water to help your patients. And he just immediately shot the idea down, like, did not want to hear it. And it was kind of in that moment that I was like, you have to share this with people. How many people out there deal with cancer and deal with chemo side effects? Like, you have to share this with people. How selfish of you not to. And it still took me a few months to even post anything about it because I was so worried what people would think. Like, it was like too crazy. And yeah, that was the start of the water journey, and just being so, I mean, the if you think about water physically, yes. Like, that's, people are like detox, like drink water in the morning, drink lemon water in the morning, all these things. Water is a
Mm-hmm.
detoxer. Think about the spiritual aspect of water. Like, we're in almost religions, different cultures, like water is literally sacred. People baptize in it. It's used for so many different healing modalities. Like, it's crazy. And I could go so woo woo and deep into that because it's been years of me like watching these documentaries and listening to these scientists and naturopaths talk about it. And just water is something that, if we're talking logical and versus the gut, again, there's no answers to water. So science is like, no, this isn't legit. Like, you can't explain it. And it's like, so because you can't explain something that's naturally occurring, you're deciding that it's not
Mm,
real,
right.
essentially.
Why can't they just categorize it as science not yet understood? And how about, what science is about is actually doing experiments and see what works and what doesn't, and I mean, and water, it's not like you need to find human beings for test trials for it, right? We don't need
Right.
to do this on 8 mice.
Right.
Right. I mean,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry, continue.
Well, no, it's, it just goes back to, I think, a lot of ego. Like, because you'll watch a documentary. My favorite one is Water Has Memory, and there are scientists in there who have devoted their entire life's work to studying water. And then you'll find a scientist who just decided, well, there's no legit science, so I'm going to say that it's not real.
Right.
But yet you have these other scientists who are so passionate and so obsessed with just water and the fact that it's unexplainable, and that, they can't explain certain things of like the crystallization and literally the water inside your cells, the structure can determine how healthy you are, like all these things. And then they're discredited because they don't have legit answers, right? That's on paper.
Yeah, what
It's
percentage of your body's water?
as you get age, obviously it goes down because we're just like a giant grape. You become a raisin when you're old.
Right.
I would say when you're born, I believe it's almost 90%. So 60 to 90 would be the range throughout someone's age.
Even if I was
Yeah.
gonna go conservative with that number, that's
Yeah.
be water, my
Well,
friend. Be like Bruce
yeah.
Lee said, be water, my friend. Be-
Dude, literally, our blood is 99% water.
yeah. It is amazing that the journey you took to this. So what's the name of the your company or what you've been doing with this?
Enagic. It's like energy plus magic. Enagic. Really cool.
Did you make that up?
Um, no,
Okay.
I did not. That's like literally the name is energy plus magic. Um, yeah, no, it's Enagic. It's a 49-year-old company. Next year,
Mm.
50 years. Um, just $1 billion company, no debt, very, very in integrity. The guy who started it, it's like a family business. They've stayed private. They've been offered, I mean, a lot of money to become public and be sold in like the Walmarts, the Best Buys, the Targets, the Amazons, the eBays, whatever. And
Yeah.
he refuses to do it.
Well,
He's like,
you
I'm not.
with that you have to give up some form of creative control, right? And then next thing you know,
Yes,
the
and
creative
also I
control
think
manipulates the
quality.
product. Yes, go. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say when you go,
Mhm.
think about companies that sell to these big corporations, quality just goes down the drain because they want to do everything cheaper. They want to
Mhm.
make it cheap and they want to sell it probably for more.
Right. God,
So,
God bless this owner. God bless you. God bless you. Were talking about naturopathic doctors or homeopathic doctors, not or specialists. Maybe not. Some of them are not MDs. I don't think you need an MD to practice that. But I think you're right in the sense that it's not talked about enough, and it's not on someone's high priority list because I guess people are thinking, what's in it for them? Is
right,
there any real money in this? There's no real money in this. Why do I care? You know,
right.
it's just water is water, right? It's that, but that's where there's some narcissism involved, but there's also a level of selfishness on how it benefits them, right? There's not a there's if there's more into this the drug that you take for the rest of your life. That's because that's residual income for the people supplying and providing that, right?
Yeah. Well, and you
Versus,
think about it,
mm-hmm,
how many people actually care about their health?
yeah,
Like that sounds really bad.
mm-hmm,
And people think that they're doing really, really good, right? So, I mean, look at me, for example. I was like, oh, I'm healthy. I'm a professional athlete. Like all I drink is water. I'm good. This is for old sick people.
right.
And I had to be humbled real quick. So yeah, it's
I feel
interesting
that
to
way
look
about
at.
ice. Ice is for old ladies, but yeah. But sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's funny. I don't think, which is so crazy. Have we been programmed to think that water is just water?
right.
You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's the awareness is coming out more and more, but it's very interesting to watch people and listen to people talk about food and nutritional value and what you're getting from your food, but no one talks about water, and it's the exact same thing. You can have processed water or you can have natural water.
yeah. When I moved from New York to California, I made sure we had I did research on like a water filtration systems and this and that, and West Coast water's actually been pretty good, and I've
Yeah.
had a conversation with a guy, and upstairs we have a purifier. Because in a rare occasion I'll cook, I'm from Brooklyn, so you got to be able to make your own sauce, and
Yeah.
it's not the same when you use hard water out here. It's just the bread's not the same. Nothing's the same. Your laundry's not the same. So people
Right.
people can't give me this BS thing that water's water. It's like give me a break. And I'm not
Oh
saying
yeah.
there's no benefits to hard water. I'm just saying that. Just saying.
Right.
um,
I'm just saying for all the people out there.
on another note, no, you had a thought.
Well, I was just going to say a lot of, so that's the funny thing is like people were so focused on the filtration, which is great, right? Like there's a bunch of crap in our water. Like
Mm-hmm.
it should be filtered. The thing that people forget about is the nutritional value of like your water, even though it's filtered, it's still dead, it's still acidic, and it's still not structured to where you can absorb it and not feel bloated after you drink a big glass of water, you know? So, like I tell people, I'm like, it's literally a defibrillator for water, and it's just using electricity, excuse me, and shocking it and giving its life back. It sounds wild
Yeah.
because we don't talk about it.
All right. Well, energy is recycled. It's not, right? Just
Yes.
doesn't just disappear and, it gets
Right.
recycled. So, yeah. On another note, and I'm glad you finished what you were going to say because I was going to stare us both off the cliff about naturopathic doctors and homeopathic doctors. I remember a friend of mine at work, my old office, who also lost 60 pounds, but she had a naturopathic doctor that gave her something called a glycemic index, like as far as blood sugar and this and that.
Yeah.
She wasn't like, I don't know what type 1 or type 2, where one person has it from an unhealthy lifestyle, or which type
Yeah.
has it where you just, it just happens, you can be perfectly healthy or whatever. But she was the one where the unhealthy lifestyle made her pre-diabetic, and she ended up kicking diabetes behind, lost 60 pounds. But the funny thing I wanted to say about it, one of the glaring differences between a naturopathic doctor and a medical practitioner is when you reach your goal, you never see them again.
Yeah.
You don't need to see a naturopathic doctor every 6 months. Once they steer you on the course, and once you know, and I remember she was saying, like, their last meeting, she's like, "Oh my God, this means I'm not going to see you again." And she's like, "Yeah, that's the sucky part I've accepted about my job, because you know
Yeah.
what happens? You start look, they pay you to do your job. They don't pay if any caring's free of charge. You're not
Yeah.
right. You don't get extra money. You know what? I get a $10,000 stipend if I pretend to give it. That's not how
Right.
that works. No,
Yes.
you care for free. And
Yeah.
and when you're in that line of work, and I guess I'm speaking for most of them, you're in that line of work and you see someone transform before your very eyes, through this evolution, not a revolution.
Yeah.
Evolution, right? Slow grinding, pride swallowing, inconvenient siege, right? And then you
Yes.
see the end product and their end product. It's like, yeah, I'm like, you want to get a drink next week? I can't. No, I'm a professional. I'm not asking this person out for a drink, but you become
Yeah.
emotionally invested in that person. You
Yep.
care them. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, it's a one-time investment. The goal is to not have you be sick for the rest of your life. Like maybe checkups here and there, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you'd go and get blood work done just as a maintenance thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're not coming back every month to get a new prescription.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yep. Oh, it's something. It's something.
Yeah.
Look, the guy I worked for that changed my lifestyle happened to be a medical practitioner. But I guess when you become a millionaire and millions is enough and billions, you're not. We're like millions is some people millions is not enough. They need billions. But when millions is enough, and you just want to do the right thing, like
Yep.
you're gonna all of a sudden your patient has more options. And yeah, I told you he wrote a
Yes.
book called Power to the Patient. He also wrote a book called Doctor, What Should I Eat? Which was,
Yeah.
16 weeks, number one bestseller, right? Roosevelt's
Yeah.
Dr. Roosevelt's Guide to Alternative Medicine. These are things that
That's so
MD shouldn't be doing.
interesting.
So yeah, he's one of those guys that got old enough and got rich enough that's like, I'm just gonna tell the truth. I got this
Yeah.
patient. He has a patient that insists on drugs. Fine, I'm gonna give you the drugs because that's your choice as a patient. Informed
Right.
consent. But anyone that's like, I want to do something different, he always had answers. And dude, I'm 53 years old,
Yeah. Would
and I
never
don't look
guess.
53, right? Nope.
Mm-mm.
I look like a creepy 35.
I was gonna
Like,
say
yeah.
exactly
Hey,
those words.
hey, little girl, what's your name?
Right.
You're like a mom,
Yeah.
mom. So, sorry. Let's shut the door on that for 1 second. I had two more fan questions. Here's one. Here's a question. She said, "Yo, she looks so good with a shaved head. Did you ever consider cutting your hair and going short again?"
Is this a real question?
Yeah. I won't tell you. I
Gosh,
can't tell you who on camera though.
listen, I had fun with it because I had to. The process of it growing back, like I'm not gonna lie, when I shaved my head and I saw the shape of my head, I was like pleasantly surprised because you really have no idea what's going on
Yeah.
underneath until you just remove all the stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised with the shape of the old noggin here. I have some funny jokes. I don't know that they're appropriate for your podcast,
It's
but
the option. Tell it. It's the
okay, so here's
option.
the thing. here's a couple things that I realized. Number one, the growing process, like growing back, I looked like anywhere from Bob Ross to Napoleon Dynamite. Those were not good times for me. So therefore, I would not cut it because of that. Number two, and this is the most important one. Sometimes when I laugh really hard, or I'm thinking, or I'm straining, I get this nice vein right here. Well, when I was bald, I just looked like a total dickhead. So
Yeah.
literally, like,
A busted condom.
yeah,
You
it
wearing a
was
turtleneck,
not,
right? You wear a turtleneck, it looks like a broken condom.
yeah, yes. So there it is, like
Yep.
that vein right there. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, no,
Mm.
those two reasons are enough for me to steer clear of the
Actually,
shaved head.
when I saw the pictures of you with the shorter hair, I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's also fine. She's also fine."
Yeah,
Just to find out you're so vain. You're so
yeah,
vain.
I'm
You
so
probably think
vain.
this song is about you.
It does. It
Mm,
knows too. It's got a mind of its own.
nice.
Yeah, no, that was I mean, I had like male pattern balding syndrome. It was just on the sides. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a time. That
Well,
was crazy.
my head's rectangular, but it still looks. But I'm like a handsome rectangular. I went, boot camp. I was in the army.
Yeah.
I'm a Gulf War vet, so boot camp. They shave your head. You're as bald as the day you're born. And
Yeah, but for men,
mhm,
I think it's a little different, right? I mean, for some
yes,
it's not. Like the men who are balding, I think it's a big deal. It's just society's funny. Like
definitely different
that's
for
such
men.
an important thing.
No, hair is significantly more important for women than men. Look, men, we could do
Yeah,
the macho thing and shave it. We're good. You know what I'm
right.
saying? We could wear hats wherever we go, even though
Yeah,
there's a bush under this thing, so I'm not losing my hair. That's
right.
dude, it's a lot of that. This is a Jew fro activity under this thing. I actually have a fro hawk under this.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's just
No, literally
look at
the
that,
first when
just
they told me I
boom.
had oh wow.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's
There's
some hat hair.
a lot going on under there.
You got a full head of hair, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but when I was the
Mhm.
saddest part when I was diagnosed, that my first thought, I'm not even kidding you, was, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my hair. Like that was the first thought I had.
It's not coming back, right? That's what you're thinking.
No, I just was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my hair, like I'm gonna be bald. And
Oh,
that was the scariest thing for me. And then I had to rewire the brain and be like, no, you're bald because you're fighting for your life. It's a badge of courage and you're gonna wear it and you're gonna have a fun time doing all this crazy stuff. Like, but it's sad. Like
you
that's the
looked
reality for a lot of
good.
people is the
Right. Sorry, you can finish that, but you looked good. I saw the picture, and you know what it did? It brings out your neck and shoulders. Like when you had the shaved head, like I was looking at
that's
that little
true.
shot you did, and for guys, when we don't want to be so lascivious and just look at the boobs, or
Yeah.
undress you with our eyes, right? What we look at is something we call the front line to your physical characteristic, and that's your neck and shoulders.
Yeah,
You
that's
rock.
true.
You rock. Some African regions, they all about that neck, man.
They are. They
They,
get
you,
the
yeah,
extender
right.
going.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're about that neck. So I think my wife's got like a 6 inch neck. So yeah, and her nickname is Goose. So yeah.
Really?
When I called her that, right, it was like a delayed reaction. She just goes, "Really? I mean, all the cool nicknames you could. Yeah, that's the best you can do. So yeah,
She could have been called Giraffe. I've been
yeah.
called Giraffe before.
That's cool. But when you're fine, they could call you whatever they want. It
That's
does
true.
nothing to your
Yeah, we don't
self-esteem.
care.
Yeah, she's a smoke show. And so are you.
That's funny.
I'm gonna say it again. You are also fine.
Thanks. I'm trying to be better at receiving compliments.
That's all right. You get them from me. You know it comes from a real place. We're
Yeah,
on the
that's
same
true.
podcast. I just called Taryn Class, and Taryn Clo's gonna get fat. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
No, she knows. What she doesn't know. I'm kidding, Taryn. I'm actually a fan of yours, so I feel like I'm closer to you than I really am. So I wasn't trying to offend you. I love you, and just keep playing volleyball.
We're all just gonna keep
Yeah.
playing volleyball
Yes.
for the rest of our lives.
How do you think I blew up? look, when I was in the military, I wasn't fat. I was training with a volleyball team at night and training with the military during the day, you know?
Yeah.
So I had no idea what, and if you look at the food I was eating, I was like, dude, when I stop playing, I'm gonna get fat. So
Well, and
me,
you know what? For
yeah,
athletes or people like that, it's like it's been their lives their whole life. So
yep,
when they're done and they're not being forced to, it's kind of like a, oh my
hmm,
gosh, I don't have to do it. And so you almost don't want to do it, you know?
yes, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, just you
I
stay
think
on the market. You'll keep working out. Stay on the dating.
um
Stay in the dating market.
I'm
You'll keep working out.
I am obsessed with working out, so that'll never be an issue for me. And I'm obsessed with diet. I
Hmm.
think about though, like people like Taryn and myself who our entire lives were told, oh my gosh, you're so tall, or like you're a big girl. So then like you're told enough that it becomes like an identity thing, which is why you should just never, stop
A
tell people they're
category,
tall.
a category, right?
Yeah, yes,
You've been categorized by a large number of people where the
yes,
inner belief is implanted,
yes,
right? So yeah, I
yeah.
totally get that. Are you a vegan or a vegetarian?
No.
Okay, God's good.
Yeah, no, I went
I was just
vegan for
gonna,
five
when you
months.
said that, I was gonna go, yeah. Well,
No, I went vegan for five
yeah.
months and 6 months,
Uh-huh.
and it completely destroyed my
Right.
hormones.
Well, I have first no. I was gonna ask you, do you plan on writing a book or did you write a book? But I want to save that question later. So that question's coming, okay?
Okay,
But
okay.
on my podcast, I had a guy named Dr. Bart K. He has 4 advanced medical degrees in like these crazy scientific fields. But the most important thing is he's the leader of the meat militia. And we were on for 2 hours that talked about the benefits of, we had a veganism versus whatever. I didn't really represent vegans that well because I'm not one, but the Brooklyn hater in me always allowed me to ask contrasting questions and be skeptical of that. And the man stood tall, so he does it 2 ways. He does it in a humorous way, like almost like a sadistic way, a friendly sadistic way, or he can just put on the suit
Yeah,
and tie and have a scientific argument. So there's 2 guys. There's Dr. Bart K, and there's the guy with literally the British helmet, for the Queen, the leader of the
yeah.
meat militia. And there's an episode for people listening. In fact, Huntington Beach, girl came up to me. She's like, "I know who you are. My name is Melissa." And I'm like, "Cool." She must have listened to some of the cool volleyball people. She get listened to Bart K, and I had another guy named Phil Escott that talked about veganism versus carnivorism. And she went on a carnivore diet and she had acne on her face. The acne went away.
Yep.
Her trim stayed trim, but it felt more solid. And she said she wanted to thank me, and she loved my podcast. And I'm like, this is different. This is someone who loves my podcast, not because of the guest list of volleyball players at all levels, uh, um, but because of my non-guest,
Oh
my
yeah. I mean,
non-volleyball
people
people.
want
Sorry.
to, the education aspect is so
Hmm.
cool, especially around stuff like that, because you hear
Hmm.
so many different sides, and like meat's bad, being vegan is good, and
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
so what he said was that he had a percentage. He says 76% of people that went vegan within a year quit that ideology. So we can go 3 months plus or minus, right? 9 months or a
Yeah.
year and 3 months.
Yeah.
And he says 86% of those 76% quit because of catastrophic health concerns.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, my hormones were messed up. I could not gain muscle to save my life. I
Mm.
was like skinny fat. It was very eye-opening. Like I'm glad that I did it because I think I would still wonder what it would be like. And I did it for 6 months. Really, and I wasn't just vegan eating the junk food. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was eating real food,
Yeah.
and it no.
But this is why you got to do your own research. Doing your own
Yes.
research back when I grew up, okay, I'm 53, doing your own research is called reading. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
anytime you see these veganism versus carnivorism studies, some of the important lurking variable that people are overlooking is that vegans, the reason why their argument was winning in those studies is because a lot of the people that were vegans were also doing healthy lifestyle things. They were doing yoga.
Yes.
They were sun worshipers. They were building up their vitamin D. And you're going to compare them with a carnivore guy who's eating, who's this Italian guy from Bay Ridge, eating greasy
Yes.
fries and this and that. So it's not a fair comparative. So find me a study
No.
that shows me a carnivore that has a similar lifestyle, that's doing yoga, that's doing all that stuff, and then come see me. But don't just be
Yeah.
like, this study's here. If you don't agree with it, you're not a doctor. You don't know what you're talking about, which is stupid. So that was the important thing. You said like
Yeah.
chemotherapy was the best thing that ever happened to your or cancer, right? Because of let's hear whatever. Like Dr. Barquet's associate, Phil Escott, wrote a book called How Rheumatoid Arthritis Was the Best Thing that Happened to him.
Yeah.
He was 60 pounds overweight, had a cane, had muscles, joint stiffness. He's like 55 years old, and he went on a carnivore diet under Barquet's guidance, and the rheumatoid arthritis went away. And then when he went to his doctor's like, this is unconventional. You need to go back on the medications that I assigned you. And he went to the doctor and he shook his hand and he says, thank you for helping me all this time. I'm out of here. I'm not going back on those drugs.
Yeah.
Because the doctor told him he needs to go back on a drug, and the reasoning as to why was not appropriate to him, the patient. And right now, 60 pounds lighter, he's not only does he not have a cane, he's running. He's
Amazing.
running. The dude's running. His name is Phil Escott. And he does lectures in the UK where doctors, like 3 times a year, doctors from all over the world sit in his lectures. He's not even a medical doctor. He's just studied rheumatoid arthritis and on carnivorism for 30 years.
Yeah.
And again, just power to the patient.
Yep.
Is that what we should call this episode?
Power to the patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're living proof. You survived something that had a 50-50 chance, where we know that's not really 50-50 if you didn't have a healthy lifestyle prior to.
Yeah.
Because physical is going to lead to the mental. If you physically feel like crap all the time, it's going to mess with your mind. And then when your mind goes, that's a wrap. That's flipping a coin where both sides are heads.
Yeah, but I think, devil's advocate, I think it's the opposite.
Tell me.
You do chemo. I told you I was in the emergency room multiple times. I'm taking all this medication. I could sleep. All I wanted to do was sleep. I couldn't eat. My appetite was gone. I would get acid reflux. I just didn't want to eat. You feel like crap. You still have to decide to go. This is where like the conversation around discipline versus motivation, it's discipline will win every time. Because you have to have the discipline to, even though you don't feel good, you go do it. Even though I didn't feel good, I went and did it because of my mind. Like I had to go because me going was me fighting. Like that was the mindset of like, I'm not going to sit here on the couch. I'm going to go walk 2-3 miles right after I finish chemo. And I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to do whatever I can. And then I'm going to go home. And that's going to be, it's significant to me because it shows me that I'm fighting.
Wow. Yep. Jesus. Man, it ain't about the destination. Not about the journey to the destination, but the journey itself, huh? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a volleyball question. The last 2 years, what was the venue that you played at that you enjoyed the most? Was it the one you won? There is a Manhattan Beach nostalgia that never gets old for me, even though I live here in the South Bay.
Yeah. I think Atlanta is cool because that's the first place Katie and I qualified. That was my first ever AVP anything, and we qualified back in
Katie
2021.
Dickens for everybody, but go ahead.
Katie Dickens, yeah. Couple. So that one always sticks out to me. Like that one's fun for me.
It's the ultimate neutral ground too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you play in Manhattan Beach against people who've been training out here all year. It's almost like a home field advantage, but you got Chicago and you got Atlanta.
Yeah. No, Atlanta, that one's fun. That one's nostalgic for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but obviously Manhattan Beach is like classic. Anything on the West Coast is classic. I really want them to go back to New York. Like, can we get back to New York?
Yes.
Like, where is New York on the map? I can't believe that they don't go there.
Let me tell you something about New York. But first, I want to go west to east. When you see good players from the west, it's players. When you see talented players in the Midwest, it's the coaches. When you see talented players on the East Coast, it's the immigration population. There, for New York City, the one that all of the people that came to 2019 AVP, because I was their coach in Rafa Rodriguez, and Jeff Samuels, who we lost to the Partains in the qualifier. But you look at the bleachers. You got the Koreans from Flushing. You got the Dominicans from Washington Heights and Uptown. You got the Chinese from Chinatown. You got the Russians from Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. You have the Polish guys from South Brooklyn. You got the West Indian people from Flatbush. All of them have migrated here, but probably play volleyball in their country before they came here. You know what I'm saying? Again, I told you I set for a team that won nationals. That entire team was Dominican, Balmeso. The entire team was Dominican Republic. I think only 3 of them spoke English. 10 years before that, I set for a team that won nationals. The whole team was Polish. And only 2 guys on that team spoke English. So you go, like, I want you to jump in on this New York thing, but you can't tell me you don't want to come to this venue that doesn't just attract other South Bay people, right? I mean, if
Right.
the AVP wants to be something, if they want to expand, if they want to whatever, stop being in these environments where it feels like you're going to like a rock band performance, and the other people that show up are the people that have to play that played before you and after you, the other bands, right?
Yeah.
New York's not like
Yeah.
that. New York, you got people that never played in their lives. That you had a
Yeah.
high school exceptional seniors game exhibition that morning, and all of the kids, all 30 of the kids, came to the game in the afternoon.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about this forever. I just think it's even Austin. It was so interesting to see them leave Austin when Austin had one of the best crowds that I've only obviously been playing for, this was my third season, but in those 3 seasons, going to almost all the stops, Austin had one of the best crowds that
Mhm.
they've gotten at an AVP event. And I just think, I'm like,
Austin
what are we
rocks,
doing
dude.
if we're not going to these places?
And I don't buy that it costs too much money. You're trying to
No.
tell me the AVP went from having an exhibition game in Madison Square Garden with AJ and Jose Loyola against Karch and Steffes. 11,000 people showed up for that game for a 2 out of 3, one match.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me Pier 25 costs too much? Don't be a freaking loser. Don't. And I sound like I'm criticizing the AVP and anyone who's listening to this, from Josh Glazebrook to whomever. This ain't on Jenny. I'm carrying this water for both of us. Grow up. Grow up. If you're not doing that, if you're not going back to Austin, if you're not going to New York, all you're showing us is that you're not ready to be taken seriously as a professional sports franchise. Okay? Couldn't even secure a place for the championship game. They're losers. You know what I'm saying? And this is someone who coaches for the AVP. This is someone who did a color commentary for Center Court for AVP New Orleans. So if it's one of those things where they're like, oh, we don't like what Jason said, then all you're showing me is that you can't take constructive criticism, and you want to take this personally, what I'm saying to you when I use the word loser instead of taking it as a challenge. Then that's not on me. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine. Well,
No,
I
it's
told you what my wife does for a living. You know what I'm saying? My
yeah.
brands and my bottom line are separate. I'm good. The question is,
Right.
are you? Are you good, AVP? You know? I listened to some of the
Yeah.
AVP guys crap all over 1440 and everything that was wrong with them. What the hell happened this year?
Yeah.
What the hell happened this year? And what's up with Austin? Sorry, I didn't mean to go this route, but you set me off with Austin, because Austin is different from New York, and it's better than New York in a sense. But the people there, they care about the sport so much, they love the sport so much, and
Yes.
they would have paid out of their own pocket to have the AVP do the championship series there. I know
100%.
it, and you know it. You
Yeah.
know that. They would have been like, come, we got the facilities. We can do this. You don't have to worry about
Yes.
people showing up. You don't have to worry about TV time. You know, I swear to you, Austin rocks, dude.
Yeah.
Austin rocks. I
It's a
met you through
crazy
Bobby
community.
Jones, who's Austin. I met you through
Yeah.
Bobby Jones made the first episode possible.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
I yeah.
Austin is it's such a little secret gem for
Yeah.
beach volleyball.
And it shouldn't be a secret.
No,
Why is this secret unequivocally safe?
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless you for bringing it up, though. I don't. You know what? I'm not taking any of this out. This has got to be in because I need that. I needed to get that off my chest. It's super necessary.
You did. I'm really
You
glad
know?
that we unpacked that.
Yes. We ain't got to say we because I don't want them taking that out on you. For me,
No, I
the worst
just
thing they can say to me is, "Oh, you're not going to commentate for us," and I'm like, "Damn, I only got to do it. I only got to do it once. Maybe that was never going to happen." You know?
right.
So come on, that's like me. That's
No.
like me boycotting Rihanna's panties, right? I was never invited. I was never invited.
No, I just think, I mean, if you're gonna be an organization, then you gotta take into account, what people say. Obviously, you don't have to. It was an interesting thing to see them um, not go back to Austin. And I know that they want to make the players happy. Like there are some players who did not want to go back for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. It's too hot. They didn't like the venue, whatever. But also, suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes, I'm in Manhattan Beach, and they're honoring the AVP legends right on center court.
mhm.
Why did Randy? Why did I have to give Randy a ticket for my box? Randy
Right.
Stokely, right? The guy who you announced last as a drum roll, the guy who won the most tournaments, right? Look, I'm glad I invited Randy. I had a fourth ticket, and me and Randy were doing the motherload together anyway. We were doing the broadcast. They asked Randy who you want as your broadcast partner. He said the mother with a Yankee hat. So me and Randy actually we did a live stream. We live streamed Ty Coots, the Gage brothers, and everything's on my NY Varsity Sports and one of their cable channels. Randy and I. So I was like, hey, come chill with me in the box. I got an extra ticket. But why did it have to be me? Why did the guy with the Yankee
Yeah.
hat have to give him a ticket? The
Yeah.
king of the beach. One half of the kings of the beach. Really?
Yeah.
Why are you treating Rolo Vincent like that, dude? You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Rolo Vincent. Sorry, that's the movie Side Out. He played a character called Rolo Vincent.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
movie.
Hope you put your money on me, old man.
Dude.
Give me half.
Oh my gosh, what a cheesy. Yeah. We love it. We love to see it.
So you like Atlanta, bottom line, right? You wouldn't say
Yeah.
no to Austin, and you wish New York City come back.
Yeah.
How's that
Okay,
sound?
but yeah, we can stop there.
Okay. I don't want to talk about this anymore. All right, a little bit more volleyball. Give me one thing that you thought you showed significant improvement from 2022 to 2023. It can be a single fundamental like passing, hitting, or whatever. It could be something from the neck up. Floor is yours.
Oh, this is a hard question. I don't think I had a
I was
very
gonna
good
go
20.
boo.
I don't think I had a very good 2023 season, and I'm still, even though I'm grateful to be playing, I'm still an athlete, and we're always hard on ourselves. Serving, I would say serving
Okay.
and blocking.
Yeah, the two fastest ways to score a point. Why not?
Yeah. But I don't think, there's always room for improvement.
Well, that was my next question. What's one thing? Because if I let you do four things, you'll give me like a slew of things because you're always your own worst critic. Give me one thing you'd like to do a little bit better. Not something that's going to change the world, but like between now and January, I want to do this a little bit better.
No, I want a handset.
Yes.
It scares me. I do it in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a good hand setter.
And then when the game comes, you're like, nope.
Yeah, because the idea of me losing a game for my teammate just because I'm trying to handset, that feels very selfish and egotistical.
Right.
So but also I can handset. So just do it. That's the goal though, is because also the mental fortitude that comes from overcoming that is cool.
Well, think about the benefit, risk versus reward. For every one set you get called a double contact, there's probably 4 or 5 points that you get because the hitter has maybe has proper
Exactly.
court vision. I don't know. Look, I don't know if the study's out on that. Me as a coach, I feel like I'm one of the real scientists in these studies are the coaches. So I just want to continue to look at it and see the benefits of it. But yeah, why not handset?
Yeah.
My old drill sergeant said, "What's the best way to get better at push-ups? To do push-ups." So
Yeah. Just do
use
push-ups.
use your hands as much as you can.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
That's so true.
my old program director from Endless Summers, who runs beach volleyball national events, had a no hands tournament for juniors. Basically, no one gets called double, no one gets called carry. So it was like a no hands
I
call, a
love
tournament just for
that.
that. And now, she did 4 of those a year, and now like almost every kid that's graduating high school, every girl can use their
Yeah.
hands. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Have it in your toolbox. It's better to have and not
Yeah,
need than to need and not have. Have it in your
for sure.
toolbox. So, um,
Yeah.
so what else? Did you watch any Motherload or did you catch any of that?
No.
All right.
This year?
Yeah. It was
No.
Sokolovsky won with Jackie Wegner. They beat Katie Piles and wow, Carly Wopat was there too. She looked really good, man. She had a nice, you know Carly, right? The
Mm-hmm.
so she's got muscles in places I don't have places. I'm just
Right, right.
got a place for that. A little, you call that a horseshoe? Not with those
I didn't
puny
even know
arms,
that was a
boy.
muscle.
I know,
Yeah.
right? I thought that was
Yeah.
I wouldn't say insensitive and say tumor. That's stupid, but
Yeah.
maybe we edit that part out.
Keep it.
Oh, geez. Look, I ain't trying to keep you here all day. I'm just, and God knows if I find another hot female I'm following around because she plays volleyball, I'll probably go nuts. So let's finish with the something I affectionately call the lightning rounds. You did this last time, and some of them are new questions, and some of them are the same questions because from last time to now, your answer might be different.
I'm
She's like,
nervous.
she's
Okay.
like, really? You should be nervous. You should be scared. You should be shaking in your boots, man.
I'm not a good test taker.
No? Well,
No.
last time you took this, you passed. Got a
Did I?
got a
Okay, cool.
65, but I mean,
D is done.
all right, there's our clock. And here we go. Let's count down. Favorite comedian?
Oh my gosh.
First one that came to
Dave
your mind.
Chappelle. Dave
Nice.
Chappelle.
Me too. Same. Last good book you read?
Last good book. New Model of Selling.
Wow, cool. Last good movie you watched? Home or in the theater?
I haven't watched a movie in so long.
Pass. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Pool or beach?
Beach.
Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? That hasn't changed.
Lord of the Rings.
Bourbon, vodka, or tequila?
Water.
Yes.
Tequila if I have to choose.
Woo! Favorite sport outside of volleyball?
Basketball.
Favorite action film star growing up?
Xena, Warrior Princess.
Any favorite conspiracy rabbit holes? 5 seconds left. She's like, I'm just going to let it count down.
Water.
Nice. Yes, dude. Well, mine is the JFK assassination.
Dude. What about 9/11? Are we still recording?
Yeah, we are. Well, for me, 9/11's building 7. I'm just trying to break down the science of how that building fell the same way and didn't even get hit by anything except falling debris, right?
Right.
I'm not a science guy. In fact, I never even passed science in school, but something I learned is that asymmetric damage doesn't cause a symmetric collapse. So it's something like if I really were to stick my head like a mongoose or like, what do you call ostrich? A long neck into like this hole looking for something to pull out, that would be kind of my thing. But JFK is easy because it's not an unpopular thing to think that Oswald didn't act alone anymore, right? It's if I were just going on a bandwagon fallacy, right, I would say I'm with the majority on that. Meaning that not that it's right, but because everyone feels the same way,
Yeah.
I'm ex-military and I'm also an expert in the M16A2 and the Beretta, and those are semi-automatic weapons, and I'm an expert. The last 4 times I qualified, that's a hard shot for me. It's a little closer, of course, but it's a moving target. And for me, most experts will say the first shot will be the most accurate because that's the one coming at you. The vehicle's coming this way
Yeah.
before it turns. So the best, but for this guy whose military records actually say he's not a good shot, for him it was the third one, including a headshot, right? So I'm just, right? I'm not saying I know who did it. I'm not saying it's the CIA or the MTVIA, right? I'm just saying that I have reason to believe I don't think that guy made that shot,
Yeah.
So that's all. Then and to me, it's not a huge conspiracy. That's not like a big one, because that happened so long ago. Nobody can do anything about it anyway.
Right.
Can't try dead people, right? So,
Right.
yeah. But that's also conspiracy too, right? We're going to actually release the files in 2005, and then they didn't. And then finally they came out, and that is still heavily redacted. But you have historians literally making offices and parked outside, going through all of this stuff because they have an interest, the same interest I do. They're taking time off. They moved there to look through the archives. So
Right.
interesting. Yeah. 9/11. We don't want people to think we're nutballs, but I mean, for people that say they follow the science, I'm like, oh God, yeah, okay.
That's like a red flag now. If someone says follow the science, I'm like,
Yes.
hmm.
Yeah. Well, we call it reading, right? Like if you actually, no, but following the science, if you actually read, let's say someone gives you a study, right? Supporting their argument, but if you actually read the whole study, you'll point out to them, wait, the study you showed me shows you that you're not necessarily right. You just showed me a study with a conclusion, right? But how we got there and the lurking variables, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Angle passing versus midline, right? You're an indoor player, right? So
yeah.
So angle passing versus midline, they had some kind of study showing why angle passing is more beneficial, right? But if you look at the sample size of the study, it's 9 players, right? Is it men? No, it's women. So it's a different height net, right? Was it professional? No, it was college. Okay, was it Division I? No, it was D2. Was this sample done in a 2-month period? No, it was 3 weeks. So you look at all these lurking variables and you're like, okay, now I know what the actual study is. I can take it for what it's worth and decide for myself how much weight it has, right?
Right.
Because, and the reason why people are going so hard in the paint for follow the science and going so hard in the paint against the science is because I think people think everyone's stupid. Because stupid people have the loudest voices, you assume everybody doesn't have the intelligence, the general intelligence to just read something and decide for themselves what it is what it is. So that's just my personal opinion where that comes from. So that's and that's my politics.
Do your own reading, do your own research, do your own reading.
You're gonna love my show. That's coming out in 2 weeks. It's called it's part of Be Better Media, Wendy Jones. And she's giving me my own platform for Be Better or Worse. It's B's in parentheses for better or worse.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
And my first episode is called Not For Me, But For Thee. And just like the last 2 years of the pandemic and some of the things that they were saying that we have to do, but when you looked at a certain class structure of people that they weren't doing either. That's why I was like, yeah. Let's just put it this way. If you see billionaires doing the same thing they're asking us to do, we're in deep trouble. That's a problem.
Right. Yes.
Anything you'd like to say? Well, first I want to you to plug in your site about the water thing, your Instagram. People want to know more about you. I'm a fan of Jenn Keddy. Oh my gosh, she's such a really good player, and her forehead and her vein is also fine. People, how could I be down? How could I get with Jenn Keddy? Give our listeners some information.
Instagram at jennuinewaters is the best way to reach me and learn.
Yep.
And laugh. I like to make people laugh.
Yeah. That's your message. Make people laugh.
Yeah, I want to make people laugh.
You made me laugh.
And teach them some cool things.
You made me laugh probably cumulatively before this episode even started. I think I laughed more before the episode than cumulatively, like the entire we're like an hour and 40 into this. Wow. You gotta go, right?
That's a long, oh my God.
We gotta go, dude. No, but I think what I was trying to say is you made me laugh more before we even got started. I just thought, we made each other feel comfortable because always make everybody feel comfortable.
It's an honor.
Yes, the honor's all mine. And thanks for coming back. Thanks for keeping your word, because you said we got to do this again. And guess what? You know, here
And
she
we
is,
did.
standing tall. All right. So, guys, Jenn Keddy might love you guys, but I don't love you guys. In fact, I can't stand any of you. In fact, we are out of here. So, for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPads and iPhones in the car, for all of you on the lunch line at Starbucks, for all of you on your laptop, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school, baby. Old school. For this young lady, the fabulous Jenn Keddy, I am Jason DeBiss. This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 189, I'm sure right now. Hit my music and stay with me, but we are out of here. Come check out the Option Podcast on optionvb.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.